What's up, YouTube? On this episode of Coddiwomple Overland, we're going to be installing trail racks. Coddiwomple Overland is brought to you in part by Overland Vehicle Systems, One Stop Overland, and Faster Fleet. As some of you might be aware, we're getting ready for a big trip. We're going to be doing Utah and Colorado in August and September. One of the things that we recognize that we didn't have that we really need is the ability to carry extra fuel and extra water. And that's where this stuff on the table here comes in. We've decided to go with the Trailrax system to be able to put roto packs on the side of the Jeep. We're going to put fuel on one side and water on the other one. That's going to give us 4 gallons of fuel on this side and 4 gallons of water on the passenger side. We think that will give us what we need for our trip. The Trailrax system comes pretty complete. It comes complete with brackets for both sides of your Jeep. It comes with the mounting plates for both sides of your Jeep and complete hardware. Installation's not real tough. It only requires just these simple hand tools. Some of the other additional things you're going to have to buy with this is, of course, your roto packs, and you can do that in the full 4-gallon one-piece ones or the 2-gallon two-piece ones. We chose to go with the 2-gallon two-piece ones. They're just a little bit easier to manage. The other thing that you're going to have to add are the mounts. You can choose to go with locking or not locking mounts. We chose to go with 4 locking mounts because we've got 4 individual roto packs. On the JK models, you don't have the drip rail that the JLs do. So it requires you to drill 4 holes per side and add these mounting blocks to the top of your Jeep. And they're going to sit up here like this. Our mounting brackets are going to sit here right close to this ridge right here. It gives you specific measurements from the end of the line right here up this way. But what I'm going to do before I put that down is I'm going to put a little bit of masking tape down. What this is going to do is going to keep it from splintering up when we go to drill. But the other thing it's going to do is give me a nice surface to be able to mark my locations on. So now that we've got our holes marked, we're going to go ahead and punch them with a center punch. That'll give us a good spot to start with our drill bit. And we're going to do now what every JK owner likes to do, and that's drill holes in their fiberglass. Okay, so after you get your holes drilled, you want to make sure and put some type of sealant around those holes just to ensure that you're not going to get any water down through there. Now that we've got our sealant put up here, we're going to put our 2 screws in here and set them right down through the holes. Once we get the screws put down through the holes, then we're going to go ahead and put the nuts on the inside. Once we get our nuts started, then we'll just tighten them up. After we have the back block tightened down, we're going to go ahead and repeat the same process on the front one. All right, the next thing we're going to do is start assembling the brackets. The first thing we're going to do on that step is put the rubber bump stops on and use the little Allen head screws that go inside those bump stops. 3 of them on each bracket, and then you get a crown nut for the top of them. It's now time to start assembling the Trailrax brackets. The first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and put our Rotopax mounts on. We chose to go with 4 locking ones. The reason we did is because we've got 4 individual roto packs. If you just do the larger roto packs, then you would only need 2 locking ones and 2 standard ones. With the Trailrax, we have multiple different configurations that we can mount things at. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that where I put my Rotopax brackets is going to be right where they need to be when it comes to our Rotopax. They come with 2 screws that just goes through, and they're going to mount up back here. But one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to Loctite these because I know there's going to be a lot of shake and there's going to be a lot of vibration. And for the other mount, we're going to do exactly the same thing. After you've got your Rotopax mounts put together, it's time to start putting on the sidebars. So the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and hang up the brackets on the Jeep. We're just going to hand tighten them for now till we get everything in place where we want it. So now with our particular setup with the Nebo rack, you can see that it's interfering right here and we've got too much of a gap back here. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm just going to have to trim off some of this bracket right here so that it'll slide up. Now that we've got this trimmed off right here, we're able to slide the bracket in where it needs to be, and you can see that the stopper is right next to the hardtop. On the JKs, there is a difference in the hardtops between the years. Some of the manufacturers don't allow for that. With this hardtop, it's a under 2010 model. So 2007 to 2010 had smaller windows than 2011 to the early 2018s. So the back window in the newer ones comes all the way out almost to this line here and comes down and back in. Well, on the side windows, they're a little bit bigger too, and they also come back a little bit closer to this seam. The thing that does is with the Trailrax system, if we had the newer model hardtop on, these two bolts right here wouldn't be any interference at all with the window. However, it being on an older one, there is a little bit of interference right here, so what we're going to have to do is put a rubber shim behind that to keep it from rubbing our hardtop. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add the bracket assemblies to the bottom, which clamps it onto the hardtop. Now, the slots are here, and it would seem like they would go inside like this and tighten down. The only problem is it doesn't pull the Trailrax in flush to the hardtop. So the way we're going to mount them is we're going to mount them like that, and as we tighten them up, it pulls everything in flush to the hardtop. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that everything is as square as it can be. I know we're not building a house, but it just looks better if it's squared up. So that one's pretty square. That one's pretty square. We'll tighten those up, and then we'll tighten the top ones up. So you can see in here where these bolts are both hitting the hardtop. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to pull this out a little bit. And just slide that rubber grommet right in behind there. You can see that it's nice and snug up here now, and we have a gap on this one. So now we're just going to make sure that our crossbar is as square as it can be so it looks good. It's good on that side. And it's pretty close on that side. So we're going to go ahead and tighten those down the way they are. Okay, so we've got our Trailrax mounting system all put on our Jeep. The next step, obviously, is to put the Rotopax on. Okay, now they're on, they're locked up, they're not going anywhere. All in all, this is not a real difficult install. It takes a little bit of drilling. You got to be very careful about where you drill your holes to make sure that you don't have to drill any extra ones. On the older model JK tops, make sure that you put something behind that bolt there, and that'll keep it away from rubbing a hole through your hardtop on the side. One of the downsides that come with putting 4 locks on each individual rotopack is the fact that you have a key for each individual rotopack. I wish there was a way that we could have gotten 4 of them keyed the same. It would have made things much more simpler when it comes to taking them off and putting them on. All in all, I think it's a really good install. I think it's fairly easy, and I think it's going to really benefit us along our route when we go out west. Let me know what you run for water and fuel carrying capacity on your rig. Leave it in the comments below. Remember, like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, see ya.